The morale of the tribe soared with the discovery that the massive ship still had running water. Everybody felt so much better having taken a bath, washing their clothes. And it wasn't just the water. In the kitchen galley, they discovered that the storage cupboards were stacked with tins of preserved food. "This feels like Christmas," Ellie said, elated, opening a tin excitedly. Most of the tins had Chinese writing on their labels, so nobody knew exactly what was inside. Ellie squealed in delight as she realized she had a can of peaches. "Fruit! Oh my God, fruit!" "At least we won't go hungry," Ebony sighed gratefully, holding up a tin to the others. "Anyone like fish?" "How do you know that?" Darrell asked in admiration. "I didn't know you could speak Chinese." "There's a lot you don't know about me, Darrell," Ebony said, her demeanour cool, pointing to a large picture of a fish on the can in her hand, tapping it. "What do you think would be in there? A banana?" "There's no need to be sarcastic," Darrell shrugged, his pride wounded. "I hear there's some food around here," Slade said, entering the kitchen galley with Ruby not far behind. Ruby and Slade had obviously just both had showers in their respective cabins and got cleaned up. Ruby fiddling with her hair, the two of them arriving by coincidence at more or less the same time from different parts of the ship. Ebony wondered if they had both had anything as an aperitif before arriving for their main meal. She and Slade still hadn't had a chance to reconcile with each other over their falling out about the death of Slade's brother. "We've got piles of food," Lottie spluttered between mouthfuls of tinned spaghetti, tomato sauce all over her face. "You wouldn't believe how hungry I am," Ruby smiled. "I'll bet," Ebony scoffed, giving a disdainful look. "This is delicious," Sammy said, cramming chocolate liquid into his mouth. But Ebony ignored them all. She was far too knowing in the male-female game not to pick up the soupcon of flirtation between Ruby and Slade, who was feeding Ruby a mouthful of the chocolate dessert. Throwing the can of fish at Darrell, Ebony snarled, "Suddenly, I've lost my appetite," and she stormed out of the galley. Out on the open decks, Celine was assisting Amber, Lex, Jell, and Jay, trying to solve the mystery of what cargo the ship was carrying. They had found some crowbars and were using them to wedge loose the doors to the metal containers. Earlier, they had discovered a few of the containers housed medical supplies inside, with untold amounts of bandages, wound dressings, antiseptics, paracetamol, and other painkillers. It was like Providence had provided them with a bounty, something to help them in their time of need, Amber thought. She was also touched by the irony that the medical supplies hadn't been enough to help the adult crew originally on board. Jill was ecstatic. She had personally discovered a container stacked full of toiletries, with thousands of bottles of shampoo, liquid soap, and shower wash. "I think I've died and gone to heaven," Jill said. "Stand back, or you just might if this door smashes into that pretty little body of yours," Lex commanded as he braced himself, with the crowbar stuck in a gap in the metal container, Jill giddily ambling around him. "How do you think I should have my hair?" Jill asked dreamily, imagining all the ways she could impress Lex and look good. "It might be an idea to try and keep it on your head," Lex replied, prying the container door open. Inside, it was full to the brim of more preserved food, with boxes stacked, hardly room to spare. There had to be thousands of tins of food in that one container alone. "There's just one problem. Deciding what to have for dinner," Lex said. Have you always got nothing but food on your mind? Jell teased. Oh, I don't know. I can think of something else I might be interested in tonight. Lex winked to Jell. Then I'll go and make myself look prettier, Jell beamed, scampering off towards the accommodation tower structure where the cabins were, her arms laden with toiletries. Lex watched her go. She was sure scatty, he smiled, but he found her attractive enough, and she might help him pass the time rather than face a long, lonely night. Right now, though, he was thinking about the mysteries of the cargo ship. So far, they had discovered a lifetime of food and supplies on it. But why? Where had it all been going? Where were they now? And what had killed the crew? Amber and Jay shared the same concerns. There were so many questions that they just hoped they would come up with some answers. An hour later, up on the bridge, Jay entered, carrying a tray full of processed tinned meat, cold beans, and canned vegetables, laid out on 3 plates. I bought you lunch, 1 plate each, Jay said, putting the tray down on one of the empty swivel chairs. It's not much, but it's the best I can come up with. Not much? It's a feast, Amber smiled, tucking into the meal appreciatively. She had gone to the bridge to meet up with Jack and Ram, who were examining the controls and instrumentation. Did you wash your hands? Ram asked warily. For you, Ram. Always, Jay replied, well aware of Ram's germ fetish. Thanks, Jack said, putting up a spoonful of cold cream corn up to his mouth, which dribbled down his shirt to his bemusement. So how's it all going? Jay asked. Everything seems so complicated, Jack answered between mouthfuls. It's like being on a bridge of an alien spaceship. We're still trying to work out what each symbol means. None of it's in English. I have utmost faith in you, Jack, Amber said. What about me? Ram cut in, clearly offended. That all depends on the results, what you can contribute. Every dial and control panel in the bridge was written in Chinese, and compared to the little trawler with its simple helm and gear to throttle the engines up or down, this was far more complex, Jack explained. There were so many dials and symbols, and he didn't know exactly what they all did. But you still think you'll be able to figure it out? Amber asked, the tone of doubt obvious. I don't know about Jack, but arr me hearty, shiver me timbers. Ram'll succeed all right, and we'll be back home again before ye know it, Ram said. Maybe we don't want to return, Ram. Remember? Amber pointed out. How could I forget? Ram scoffed. But I'm warning you, I'm not used to taking orders from anyone, let alone landlubbers forcing me to live on the high seas. Please, Ram, no more pirate speak, Jack pleaded. Ram knew it irritated others, and he was always more than happy to indulge his mischievous side. Then let's try some geek speak. He considered Jack as if throwing down the gauntlet. You're something else, Ram, you really are, Amber said. There's no time for power struggles or competition. With my brain, Ram replied, supreme confidence in his manner as he pointed at his head. My special brain and Jack's help, we'll work it out eventually. We just have to be careful. We don't want to press the wrong button and lower the anchor or something. Or we could be in the same position as we were on the trawler, stuck in the middle of a vast ocean with nowhere to go. The last sentence was a clear dig at Amber. She didn't take the bait, but decided that it might be to everyone's advantage to further nourish the competitive spirit between Jack and Ram. She was fully aware of Jack's natural abilities, and as much as she loathed Ram, she was aware that where Jack had an aptitude for all things mechanical, as well as computers, Ram was an experienced and talented programmer. Surely between them, they could work out all the systems on the bridge. "I could steer the trawler, but this?" Jack pointed all around him. "I mean, look at the size of it. It's on a completely different scale." Jay and Amber appreciated the difficulty of the task. With the mammoth length of the container ship stretching out the front windows of the bridge for several hundred feet ahead of them. "That has to be the dial showing the wind speed, shipmate," Ram said, pointing at one of the control panels. "I don't think it's just the wind speed. I think it's something more to do with the strength of the current," Jack said. "Don't doubt my intelligence!" Ram snapped. "Oh, and it's all right for you to doubt mine, I suppose? I never thought you could be so stupid," Jack replied. Jay glanced at Amber and cast a slight smile. The logic in her trying to pit Jack and Ram together in a technical battle might have motivated them both to get a quicker result in understanding all the charts, maps and instrumentation on the bridge. But if they weren't careful, it might just fuel a bitter argument and them falling out. "Settle down, guys," Jay said. "You've got to try and work together. Right, Amber?" Amber didn't reply. She was focused on a journal she had discovered and was now flipping through the pages. It was written in English, and what it had to say was mind-blowing. "Did you call me stupid?" Ram bellowed to Jack. "Yes, right now you're being stupid," Jack argued. "Amber, can you tell Jack to stop calling me names?" Ram asked, but Amber ignored him, preoccupied by the journal. "Amber!" Ram called out, insisting he would be heard. "The only name I will accept is Brilliant." "Come on, guys, let it go, will you?" Jay said, crossing to Amber. "What is it?" he asked her. Amber snapped out of her reverie, her eyes wide open in wonder. She shook her head as if dazed, trying to take it all in, absorbing what she had read. "Is everything all right?" Jay questioned, noting Amber's uneasy demeanour. "I'm not sure," Amber replied, indicating the journal in her hand.